Today is a good day. I don't know if you can see around me if you're watching this. Blue skies. I think it's the second blue sky we've had now in the UK in 2026. And oh my goodness, does it make a difference? And I keep overhearing people's conversations saying, oh, the sun's out, it makes such a difference. I mean, everyone has such a spring in their step. It's gorgeous. Like, look how bright it is. I'm absolutely loving it. So I like to think that every episode is going to be a good episode and I give it my all for every episode. But the sun is out, so this can't be a bad episode. That leads me to saying, welcome back. This is episode 7 to Food for Freedom podcast. My name's Niamh and I help you create the version of you who is free around food. There's a liar in your brain that is making food scary and I'm here to expose it. I want to talk all about it. I want to separate you from the liar. I want to help you find food freedom. I want to help you rewire your brain to find food freedom. And through this podcast, we're going to do it together. You've got me right here in your pocket whenever you need me. My TikTok and Instagram is at Fuel for Freedom X if you want to follow me on there. This episode is going to be about blips, hiccups, bumps in the road on your journey when you heal your relationship with food. Those moments that feel like, oh my God, see, I knew I couldn't do this. Oh my God, this is so hard. Oh my God, I want to relapse so much. Oh my God, I feel like I'm back at square one. Oh my God, I've made no progress. This episode is for you. For you when you have those moments where you feel like there is no way out, when you have those moments where you feel like you're back at square one, you need to pull this out and you need to listen to it because this is part of the journey. My recovery journey was not smooth sailing. It's messy, it's emotional, there's so many blips in the road, but it's about staying on track with your why and your reason why you're recovering and why you are doing this journey is the thing that's going to matter. You can have 1,000 blips, 1,000 bumps in the road. But if you stay consistent and keep showing up for yourself every day and keep reminding yourself of the why and the method and the practices that I'm going to help you, you will get there. It's impossible to not get there. If you keep showing up every day, if you do not give up, it's physically impossible for you to not get better. If you don't give up, it's impossible for you to not get better. And this is the quote for the start of the video that we're going to hold going into this. It is physically impossible to fail if I do not give up. I need to turn some cold air on in this car. It's way too hot. So me and you both know better than everyone probably that when you heal your relationship with food, when you feel like you mess up or you have a blip or you've been doing really well and something has happened where it's made you feel like you've either overeaten or you've gone crazy around food, or the other end where you have just started restricting again, you've relapsed, you've cried, you've gone back to square one with restrictions and going in heavier restrictions because you've just completely spiraled. All of those things, when they happen, just feel like the biggest catastrophe in the world. It feels like, oh my God, I'm such a failure of a human. Like, everyone else can do it. You can't do it. I'm so rubbish. Just like the torture and the self-hatred it brings upon you when you go through those things is it's just insane. Like, you genuinely feel like the most worthless person in the world and you feel like you are not capable of anything. And for me, that is absolutely heartbreaking because obviously being on the other side of it, it's like there is a way out. Like, I just want to shake you and I want to say, please, please, please don't give up. Please keep going. Please keep going. But it's so easy for me to say that because I am on the other side. But when you are in the depths of it, like, my God, it feels like there is no way out. It feels like you are so worthless and it's just a never-ending battle. Before we go into this, I want to remind you of the one thing that I stand by and the one thing that is major in reminding yourself every single moment of every single time. It's almost like you have to sit down with yourself, like I said in my first episode, where you sit down with yourself and you say, right, enough's enough. This is what's going on. This is what's happened. And this is what I keep needing to remind myself of. And that is when you struggle with food and when you have a bad relationship with food, you have been hijacked. Your brain has been hijacked. Your brain has been hijacked by a lying voice that is not you. It's never been you. It is unfortunately a lying voice that wants to control you, that has learnt all your insecurities, all your fears, everything that, makes you feel weak. And it has learned how to speak to you in your own voice to trick you. It sounds like you. It speaks in your voice. It knows everything about you. It knows where to get you when you're vulnerable. but it's a liar. It's a liar that has hijacked your brain, that has been created by all of those moments that you've been growing up and, you've absorbed somewhere that carbs are bad. You've absorbed somewhere that, you look better when you're smaller. You've absorbed somewhere that you are noticed more when you're smaller. You've absorbed somewhere that people get noticed more when they're tiny. All of these different things in life that you've been exposed to that makes your brain think, okay, this is how we need to be accepted. This is what we have to do in order to be accepted, in order to be the best version of ourselves, in order to be liked. And that voice has come in and it's taken all of those things that you've absorbed and speaks to you to control you to be valued. So when you struggle with food, the voice comes in and it controls the one thing that it knows how to control based on your insecurities. So for me, my insecurities were my weight, my body, food, my body changing, not being liked, not having that perfect body that everyone likes. And I just had a very bad relationship with my body image and food, and that voice came in for me and controlled food in order to control my weight, in order for me to feel valued, in order for me to feel like I finally fit in. But it lied to me. It completely lied to me. All my beliefs lied to me. All of the things that made me believe, it was just lying to me. All of my beliefs were messed up because this voice came in and told me I have to do X, Y, Z in order to fit in order to be liked. It's all based off of insecurities. And it's unfair. It's really unfair. It's like, why me? But everyone has been hijacked by a voice in their life, whether it's through business, whether it's through work, whether it's through, body image, whether it's through food. Unfortunately, we all have this inner voice within us that's a liar, that lies to us to keep us stuck, to keep us doing these bad things to ourselves that aren't true. When this liar comes in and controls you, your brain is only used to that. It's only used to what the voice tells you what to do, your response to the voice, and how that makes you feel. So, for example, for years and years and years with food, I have learned that I needed to restrict my food in order to feel some sort of safety because I was losing weight, in order to feel validated in some sort of way. And it would replay that loop over and over again in my head. And it's like, in order to be validated, I have to eat less and I have to be smaller. So then my actions and my behaviours and my beliefs all change in order to back this up. And then I practice that over and over and over again. Restriction leads to safety. Over and over and over again in my head, so that my brain has no other choice than to act in accordance to that, to what I believe, to what I'm trying to achieve. So for years and years and years, if that's the only thing that I've taught my brain's going to get used to that. And my brain's going to feel safe doing that. That's the only way I'm going to feel safe, because that's what all my beliefs are based on. Where I'm going with this is, when you have a blip in your journey and when you are going through a hard time after maybe doing well, maybe something's happened in your journey where you're like, oh, I want to relapse and I want to go back. And it's like this voice is telling you that, see, you can't do it. You're not worthy of recovery. You're never going to recover. Like, you need to restrict now because you've just gotten too big from trying recovery. All of those things, that is the voice. That is the voice getting louder because your brain is used to listening to the voice. And now that you're not listening to the voice in your healing journey, the voice is panicking and it's like, I need to do anything that I can to get you back in my grip, because I'm not used to you not listening to me. And your brain's panicking because you're doing something different that the brain's learned, that the brain's used to. You're going against everything that you have taught yourself for years and years and years. You're going against everything the voice has told you to do for years and years and years. It's all connected. And because you're fighting against it, the brain is going to turn up the alarm and be like, hey, she's not listening anymore. I feel in danger. I'm panicking. The voice has got really good control of her. Let's get the voice back. Let's turn that up so she might listen, so that we don't have to feel panic anymore. We don't have to feel panic that she's not listening to us anymore. So, point being, your brain gets used to what you've taught it over and over and over again. So, it's normal that when you are going through blips in your recovery journey or your healing relationship with food journey, and you feel like you're back at square one, or you've done something and then you're like, I'm never going to recover and I can't do this and this is just not for me. It is just a blip. That is all it is. It is just a blip. And the lying voice is going to get louder because it wants to keep you stuck, it wants to keep you in control, and your brain is also going to panic because you're going against everything that it's learned for years that makes it feel safe. So of course you're going to have blips, they're part of it. It doesn't mean that you can't do recovery, it doesn't mean that you're not good at recovery, it doesn't mean that you're not worthy of recovery. It's all part of it. It really is all part of it. So let's hold on going through this video and have that conversation with yourself and remind yourself, I have been hijacked by a lying voice. A liar. It's all it is a liar in my head, and you've been hijacked. You can't help that. But recognizing it is very important. Something I know a lot of people deal with is they feel like, you know, they're finally starting recovery and they are experiencing this thing of they'll be like upping their food and it will feel fine, they'll be okay, and then boom, eating, can't stop eating. And then I can't tell you the amount of messages I get of people saying, I'm eating so much, I don't know what's happening to me, I just need to know if this is normal, I'm doing so well and then I'm just eating and I can't stop, and then I've ruined everything and I want to relapse and I want to restrict, and it's so hard because I've just binged. And it's like, that is not a blip in your journey. That is a necessary part of your journey. If you have spent a long time restricting and sort of in a famine, your brain thinks that you're in a famine, its response to you eating and fueling yourself more is going to ping these green alarms in its head saying, this is good, okay, this is yummy, I'm loving this, I haven't had this in a very long time, I'm going to make sure I get it all in now because I've been without it for so long and I don't know when I'm next going to get it again, because all of the trust is lost. Because it's so used to you restricting after you give it food that every time you eat it thinks, okay, we've eaten, but now it gets taken away from us for however long. So when you start eating and it's starting to get a bit more food, it's like, okay, I hear you, I want more of you, and it's going to go into overdrive, and it's just a response to the famine that it thinks it's been in. So when you are eating a lot more and you feel like you can't stop, it is a response to extreme hunger. It's a good response. It's like, okay, let's get this all in now, because it's like it doesn't trust you, but it's part of your journey that happens for everyone, and so you need to know that that happens. You can't count that as a blip. You can't count that as a bump in the road or something that makes you want to start back to the beginning, because once you know that this is normal, it's a normal thing that people have to go through when they're healing relationship with food as a consequence for not feeding yourself regularly and breaking that trust with your body, it's easier to accept because it's like, okay, this is meant to happen. You know, people like us that struggle with food need certainty. We need to know what's happening when, we love control. And I feel like by me explaining to you that, you know, this is part of the journey, it doesn't mean it's a blip, it doesn't mean you failed, it doesn't mean you now need to restrict loads because you've overeaten. No, it's very essential. So by me telling you that, it's almost like, okay, so this is actually a normal part of me healing my relationship with food. It's not forever. It's an uncomfortable patch. Yes, it makes me want to restrict. Yes, it feels like I'm out of control. Yes, it feels like I can't physically stop. And you're probably also thinking, yeah, but Niamh, you have no idea. I'm shoving so many calories down my throat. I'm eating so much. Same. There were points when I would go to my cupboard and I would just gorge on everything. Like, it was insane the amount that I could put away. I was even shocked. I'd be like, how can I physically eat that much? Like, how am I physically eating that much? Me and you are no different. We're both biological human beings. We both have to go through the same thing if we're healing our relationship with food as a response to starving our brains and starving our bodies, you know? It's normal. It's a normal part of recovery. It's a very, very uncomfortable part. Granted, you know, it's going against everything that we feel is keeping us safe. It goes against, you know, that discipline feeling that we love. But me telling you that it is part of it and it does happen hopefully helps you, because it's like, okay, I don't need to see this as a blip anymore or something that I need to feel like is sending me back, because it's something that I have to go through. And if you go through it, it's only going to make you stronger. So that can't be a setback. That's not something you can look at yourself and say, okay, I failed here, I need to restrict, because if you go through extreme hunger and you start restricting after it, you're just prolonging you finding your food freedom self, and you're just going to have to go through that again, because that extreme hunger isn't going to disappear by you doing it and then restricting and then doing it and then restricting. You have to go through it, because that one thing is the thing that's rebuilding the trust with your body. And you can't build trust with your body if you're giving it something and then taking it straight back and saying, here, have all of this, but actually no, you're not allowed that again. You need to feel bad for that. Also, going back to the voice that tells you, you know, you failed, you failed, you can't do this, that same voice I was just telling you about, that voice is also going to crop up during this time, and it's going to make you believe that your episodes where you feel like you're eating a lot more and you can't stop eating and you know you've got a bottomless pit, that voice is going to speak to you in a way that's going to say things like, you know, you're so greedy, like you know, Niamh warned you about that you were going to be eating more, but this is ridiculous, like you're taking it to a whole nother level, like you're a pig, you know, you eat so much more than everyone else, no one else around you is eating that much. Like, so many different hatred thoughts this voice is going to say to you. But those are just thoughts. It is a liar. It's a liar lying to you. You know that you have to go through this in order to rebuild that trust with your body. It's a biological fact. It's a biological truth. And the real truth and the food freedom version of you that is beyond the liar within you is saying to you that this is a necessary and essential part of me finding my freedom again. It's not going to last forever. It's just going to last as long as it needs to until it can trust me again, because unfortunately we've damaged the trust within ourselves, where our brain doesn't know when we're going to get food, but this is a very essential part to healing it. And that is really the mindset that you have to have. You have to be aware that this voice is going to creep up and it's going to tell you that you're greedy, you shouldn't have done that. But then you need to be the strong food freedom version of yourself that says, the real fact of this is recovery. This is me healing my relationship with food. This is me finding my food freedom self. The voice lying to you is a lie to keep you stuck. And 2, you are the real you that knows the food freedom self is doing this for them. They're doing it to heal their relationship with food. They're doing it for themselves. We're ignoring the liar. I just wanted to clear up that intrusive thought for when that does happen for you, because it's one that is, you know, holding a lot of people back, and when it happens it makes you really think, right, I've overdone it, I'll restrict and then I'll start again tomorrow with this recovery thing. I'm afraid it doesn't work like that. Don't we wish it worked like that? But it really, really doesn't. You have to find that food freedom desire self within you and find the reasoning why you're doing it. Remind yourself, this is part of it. It feels like I'm gaining huge amounts of weight overnight from doing this. It feels like I'm so uncomfortable. It feels like it's the end of the world. It feels like I'm a massive failure. But it's all lies based on lied beliefs, based on things that the voice has taught me that aren't true. I am not lying to you. I'm not telling you this to gaslight you. I promise you that the way through it is through it. And finding ways that you can speak to yourself and find more power works, because then you have foundation to work from. You have something to work from and think about, instead of just hoping that recovery is going to be the fix and hoping riding through extreme hunger is going to be the fix, because hope sometimes isn't strong enough when you've got years of beliefs and years of lies in your head. You need something that grounds you. You need something that you can keep referring to, and you need proof. And I'm proof. I'm living proof that this works. I'm living proof that there is a liar in your head that you can get past and you can ground yourself around, and you can talk back to and say, hey, shut up, liar. I know what I'm doing. This is for me. I'm doing stuff for me now. I'm finding my feet. Anyway, moving on. So now I want to talk about something that you also need to change your perspective on, and that is your measuring. You're measuring. How are you measuring healing your relationship with food? You're probably measuring it wrong, as was I. So if you are healing your relationship with food, there is no set time that is going to happen. There's no set times. There's no set blueprint of how recovery goes for everyone. It's messy. It's emotional, it's up, it's down, it's left, it's right, it's changing all your habits and everything you believe in. That is so incredibly hard, and you need to give yourself grace for that, and you also need to take time to give yourself a pat on the back for what you're going through, because even amongst the ups and downs and the messy bumps of recovery and healing your relationship with food, you're still choosing to show up for yourself. You're still choosing to make change. You're still choosing to choose yourself for the better. You're still choosing to go through the one thing that terrifies you. And, you know, there's so many people in the world that if you, including me, but if you held up a spider to me and said, you need to hold this fear to see through it, and you need to be okay with holding spiders, and I hate spiders, they scare the absolute shit out of me, but I wouldn't do it. There are so many people in the world that would not face their fears, and I know that's a silly one, like it's not really a life or death holding a spider or not, but you know, healing your relationship with food is very, very important. It's not like holding a spider. My point being is, like, there's so many things in life that people are asked to choose their fear and go through it, and they just don't. And it's like, when you've actually got a mental illness inside your brain that is growing every single day and tells you that you're not allowed to eat and you're not allowed this, and has made you terrified of food, but you are still choosing to go through and face it, to know that this is the only way that's going to get you better. It's so incredibly brave, and it's so amazing, and it's so hard, but you don't give yourself enough credit. It's like measuring it on, how many times did I overeat this week? How many times have I gone over this week? How many times have I messed up this week? How many times have I gone out of control? And it's like, you are measuring your healing relationship with food journey by a voice, by a liar. You're measuring it by the lying voice that is asking you those questions. If you are panicking about how many times you've overeaten, if you are panicking about how many times you've gone over this week and how much weight, like still trying to control the whole, how much have I gone over and how much have I gained weight, and like, that's not you fully trusting in recovery. That's not you fully letting yourself recover. That's still having some rules and some panic and some, you know, that is still going to cause some rules and restrictions from the voice. So when the lying voice tries to talk to you and tell you, you know, you've gone over this amount of times this week, you've binged this amount of times this week, you've done this amount of times a week, and you know, you're going to go out of control, like you're going to gain weight quicker than anyone else, and just all of that noise, what the voice is really trying to say to you is, you are eating more than I'm comfortable with. And it's like, okay, voice, good thing that you don't have an appetite, okay? Because I'm the human with an appetite. I'm the human that needs feeding. I'm the one that has to walk around, go to work, fuel myself, you know. So I'm going to eat what I think I need to eat, and I'm going to eat what my body is telling me I need to eat. I don't care if it's too much for you. And to be honest, when you have a voice in your head, the lying voice about food, it's like anything that's over what it thinks is sensible or is adequate is going to feel uncomfortable, even if it's still not enough as a human being. Anything over what you're used to and what the voice has convinced you is normal or is too much is still probably not enough, but it's still very uncomfortable for you regardless. So it's normal to have those thoughts come in from the liar, but you really have to measure recovery with is, instead of, oh, how many times have I eaten this week and how many times this and that and this, you have to ask yourself, did I show myself compassion this week? How many times did I not listen to the voice this week? How many times did I choose to eat even though the voice and the liar told me that I'm not allowed to eat? Those are the real successes. Those are the real things that are going to help you grow. Those are the real things that are going to move you forward. Those are the things that you should be counting. That is the real measure of recovery. Did you eat the next meal, regardless of what the lie was telling you, regardless of what the voice in your head was telling you? That is what we need to measure. That's what we need to count. And it's like, that's not an excuse for you to beat yourself up if you didn't choose to ignore the voice. That's not that. What I'm saying is, don't let the voices questions of how, like, don't let the voices lying questions be the monitor of your recovery. So the voice is going to ask you these things to keep you stuck, to keep you thinking about, oh God, actually I've eaten way too much this week. I am gaining weight really fast. I can't do this. I need to go back. I'm not ready yet. You will never be ready. That voice will appear the next time you try. That voice will come again and again and again. And it's like, you need to be aware that this voice is going to come up and ask you these things, tell you these things, that you're doing too much in a week. How many times have you done this in the week? You need to know them. On my healing relationship with food journey, I need to show myself compassion. I need to measure how many times I'm able to ignore the voice this week. Even if it's once this week, it's still once more than it was last week. It's 2 times the next week, but it's not how many times you want it to be. It doesn't matter. It's still 2 times more than the week before. And it's like, that's where the growth happens. It's not this thing where it's like, okay, I'm choosing recovery in a week's time, you know, if I'm not there, I'm giving up. And it's like, no. It's all of those wins that once felt so impossible that just stack up after being repeated time and time again. And it's easier to do them when they're smaller. But some people can do them and go all in because they're so motivated. But some people, it takes like, okay, I'm going to do this much this week, I'm going to do this much next week. It's all down back to the fact that everyone's recovery is different. You all have to take the steps that make you feel comfortable, but the main thing that measures your recovery journey is how many times can you ignore the voice, how many times did you show yourself compassion, how many times did you choose to be kind to yourself instead of beating yourself up during these blips, during these moments in recovery where it feels really hard. But real healing is measured by how stable you stayed, how much compassion you showed yourself, how much kindness you showed yourself. Remaining stable instead of letting it turn into this big, huge spiral that then convinces you are failing, you need to go back to where you were. That's where it gets messy, and that's where the voice wins. But if you remain stable and you think, okay, maybe I feel like I've messed up today, but instead of feeling like I've messed up, let me find the positive of what has actually happened. Is the voice telling me I've messed up, or what have I actually achieved this week that me once a few weeks ago could have never imagined doing, or me once a few days ago could never imagine doing? There's so many things that you can be proud of whilst healing a relationship with food, but the voice is always going to tell you things that you need to be ashamed of and things that you are failing in. And that's why knowing the voice and being able to acknowledge it is going to help you. Something that was a really big unlock for me was the more I found out about myself on my healing relationship with food journey was where I got so interested with learning and separating myself from the voice and the liar and that thing inside me that's trying to control me, and just disassociating myself with it, and also how I could rewire my thoughts in my brain and why things were happening in my brain, and just getting obsessed with that stuff. I learned so much about myself, and I learned why things were happening. I was able to identify things more. And you know how I talked to you about, in the moment, noticing the voice and what the voice is trying to say to you, pausing and thinking? That's exactly what I done to learn about myself, and it's a proven thing. Like, it's a known thing that what I'm about to share with you is a thing, but I didn't know that until I paused in those moments and found things out about myself. So for example, and it still happens now, like, I'm only human, but I have this thing within me where it's like, I need control. And I don't mean that in a way of like I'm a control freak, in the sense of like my boyfriend, for example. I'm not a controlling girlfriend. Like, he can go on his boys' holiday or do whatever, like whatever. I don't care about that. I'm not a controlling girlfriend. But like, I need control in my life where it's like, I panic when I'm away from my family. I'm a bit of a home bug. I panic if I can't control like my family's safety. I panic if I can't control the outcomes of things. Like, I panic if I feel unstable in life. I feel like it's all around control, and I panic when I don't have control. And obviously, when you have an ED or the voice in your head lying to you about food and making you feel worthless if you eat, and etc., etc., a lot of that is to do with control and finding control and controlling food and needing control to feel safe. And it's so interesting because it's like, when I still deal with blips, in fact, in my life, if I have a trigger, which is like an uncertainty, lack of stability trigger in my life, I find that my thoughts around food, body, everything like that heighten. And it's so weird for me now, because it's like, where for a good while now, like, I've been healing my relationship with food, I'm good with food, like, I'm free around food. To get those thoughts come back in sometimes, it's like, it really hurts, because it's like, it almost takes you back to the place where you thought you'd never be able to go. And that's just me being real with you. But because I have a rewired brain now and a stronger mind, it's like, oh, okay, I can acknowledge that now. But that doesn't mean I'm going back there. That doesn't mean I have to listen to this thought. I have to eat. I have to go against what this is telling me. So that strength comes with constant repetition and constant practicing and constant reminding yourself why. That's what I had to do. It's been a journey, it's been tough. They still come up sometimes, the thoughts. That's me being honest with you. But you get to a place where you can identify, because you've paused and acknowledged the fact that this is a voice telling me I need to do X, Y, Z, because I'm out of control in my life. But I don't need to listen to it because it's lying to me. So if I've just waffled on there, what I'm trying to say is, okay, if I'm out of control in my life where I don't know where things are going on, last year there was something for me that really was out of control in my life. I couldn't control it. It was stressing me. It was all I could think about. I was trying to plan for the outcome. I was trying to prepare myself for the outcome. And it was something that was very, very meaningful to me, and something that I just thought, like, oh my God, like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't anything. And it's like around that time as well, every time I looked in the mirror, I saw someone that wasn't me. I saw like a big, horrible, fat monster. That's what I like to explain it as, because that's how I would talk to myself. And I don't talk to myself like that anymore, but that's how in the moment I see myself. And it's like, I then want to start, even subconsciously, like making smaller portions of food, like thinking, oh, I shouldn't have that, I shouldn't have that, I shouldn't have that. And it's constant having to be aware and constant having to switch on. Hang on a sec. I'm out of control in my life right now. I'm feeling weird about food. Something's correlating here. And it's like, okay, instead of having two things to now be worrying about, which is food and the thing that I can't control, I'm not going to worry about food because I don't struggle with food anymore. That is a liar talking to me, because I'm out of control in my life. And then in that moment where I've paused and I've thought, okay, it's only coming up because I'm out of control in my life, I then choose myself. I choose to be kind to myself. What do I want? What do I need right now? Because I feel unstable in my life, where else in my life can I show myself some stability? And that is with food. I'm not going to let the voice come in and also take away my food from me now. No, I've worked so hard to heal my relationship with food. I'm going to show myself kindness, compassion, care around food, because I've worked so hard to heal my relationship with it. And that stupid lying voice in my head is only coming in because I'm vulnerable. I'm vulnerable because it knows I'm out of control. What's the one thing that I know how to control very well when I'm out of control in my life? Food. I'm not doing it. I'm never doing it again. But that is something that I feel like was a huge, huge unlock for me, because it's like, okay, I'm actually starting to learn about myself right now. I'm not just ignoring the fact that I've got this voice happening right now. I'm actually taking time to learn about why this is coming up, so I can prevent myself from falling back or going back to a place, because I know it's a liar and I know I've been to that place before. It doesn't make me feel more in control. It doesn't make me feel better. It promises it, but it never delivers it. And that is something that I feel really, really changed my whole healing journey, because I was like, okay, I am actually really powerful now. I can deep dive into myself and find these things out about myself that I never would have been able to do. And I've actually separated myself from the voice, and I've got the power back. So it's really amazing. That is hope for you, that it is a really, really amazing, like, self-finding journey. Like, you really find yourself. You really know how to sit with yourself. You really know how to learn about yourself. And it's like, it's so amazing. It's so amazing. And it's just so empowering as well. And within these lack of control blips, the voice will get louder, like it did for me, because it's like, okay, let's give her one last chance to see if she can come back to us. It wants to see if it can pull you in one last time. And it's like, it also knows, because you're out of control in life, it's like, hey, come here, we know how to control food really, really well, like, come and join us to give you some sort of certainty. And it's like, no. No, thank you. Going back to that certainty point as well, and I've spoke about this in a different episode, is your brain loves certainty. If you're uncertain in a certain part of your life, it's going to find the quickest, fastest, most familiar bit to find certainty within food, because it knows that you can get certain control quick from that. So it's going to, like, lure you towards controlling your food because you're uncertain somewhere else in your life. And it's just not worth it. It is just not worth it. But identifying it is. I spoke in my first episode of talking about a little bit about identity shifting and, like, finding, and this ties back into, like, separating yourself from the voice and the liar and, that thing in your head that's constantly lying to you. Identity shifting is a big part of it as well. And it's it's again a grounding thing that I used to love, and it's something that you can ground yourself with in the moment. I for me really worked with grounding things and thinking, constantly thinking, and it's not easy. It's not easy. So you can't beat yourself up if you can't think about these things right in the moment. But it's about constantly filling your brain with things that are helping you rather than sabotaging you. For example, re-listening to this a few times, not to get my engagement up, but instead of doom scrolling, you're filling your brain with stuff that's actually going to help you on your journey. And where I'm going with the identity shifting is, okay, if you are someone when you're healing relationship with food that talks to themselves like, one day's going really good, I'm doing really good today, I'm doing great today, and then when a bad day comes, it's like, I'm doing so shit, and this is so bad, and I can't do this, and this is so hard, and I'm not someone that can do this, and all of that stuff. Like, you don't know who you're trying to become, because one day you're there, one day you're doing good, and one day you're doing bad, and your brain completely forgets what you're doing it for and why, because it's like you're measuring it based on one day being really good and then one day being really bad, and then that one bad day is defining your whole journey, and it's like it just doesn't know where it's coming or going. Within all of that self-critical judgment and how you speak to yourself, you lose who you are and why you're doing it. And it's like, if you can just change how you speak to yourself, instead of, oh, do you know what, I done a really good day today, or you know what, today was so shit, like I'm just gonna go and restrict now, and all of that. Your brain needs some sort of certainty. It needs some sort of like thing that it's certain towards, that it's working towards, so that it can predict what's coming, because it doesn't like the unpredictability of one day you're up here and one day you're down here. And of course that's going to happen. You're going to be up here and you're going to be down here. You're going to be in the middle. You're going to be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 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 down. Like, so many different directions you're going to be in while healing a relationship with food, and it is unpredictable. But if you can just give your brain that one bit of certainty, where it's like, instead of being I'm really good and I'm really bad, it could be like, I'm really good, but on the bad days that you feel are bad, that might not even be that bad, you can say to yourself, I'm still choosing recovery. Today didn't go as planned, but I'm still choosing recovery. Because on the bad days, you want to restrict. You want to go back to square one. Like, you want to, because it feels safe. And it's like, by telling yourself you're shit and you're bad and you're not good at it, it's encouraging that. It's adding fuel to the voice to say like, hey, like, come back to me. And it's like, no, okay, today didn't go as planned, but I'm still choosing recovery. It keeps you aligned on your path. It provides your brain with some sort of certainty. It removes the uncertainty of up, down, I don't know where I'm coming or going. Are we healing our relationship with food? Are we not? I know it's easier said than done, but it's a grounding technique, and it really, really works. I'm still choosing recovery, because not only are you choosing to speak to yourself with kindness, but you are reminding yourself of your why every single day. Even if you're not going into the specifics of your why, it's still reminding you of your why. I'm choosing recovery. I'm choosing to heal my relationship every single goddamn day, because I'm worth it. And that leads me on to my next technique, which is perfectionism and the 24-hour rule. And what this is with struggling with food and eating disorders and having control and a liar in your head, everything we do is very perfectionism. Like, we've got very much all or nothing. Everything has to be perfect. We love to control everything down to its little tiny detail. And it's like, think to yourself, oh, if I can't do this properly, if I can't perfect this recovery thing, then what's the point? If I can't recover into a perfect body, if I can't recover into without any ups and downs, then what's the point? But you have to understand that instead of striving for this perfectionism thing, you have to leave the perfectionism with the lying voice. The lying voice has lied to us so long about everything having to be perfect and controlled. You have to know that recovery and healing relationship with food is going to be messy. Like I've said before, you are changing everything that you've learned. You're changing habits. You're changing yourself as a person. Your identity shifting into someone who's free around food after years fearing it, being against it, hating it. Not hating it, but hating what it does for you, apparently, bunny marks again. So you need to be aware that recovery is messy. And it's hard because obviously you see so much online of recovery being the best thing ever, and it is, granted. I share those posts too. I like to show you life after recovery to inspire you, but you have to know that it's going to be messy. It's not going to be jumping around, eating every day with a big smile on your face. Like, you are going to be crying, you are going to have tantrums, you are going to want to go back to square one after blips. But knowing that blips are coming, accepting that blips are coming, will help you not spiral and turn them blips into starting all over again and thinking that you've messed everything up. Real healing is emotional. You're changing people. You're grieving someone you thought was keeping you safe. Healing your relationship with food is emotional. You are literally grieving someone that you thought was you, that you thought you were best at, that you thought you were accepted at, that you thought you could trust, that you thought you were safe with. And it's like, you just have to let that go. And no one talks about that. No one talks about the fact you are grieving the smallest version of yourself that you wanted to be for so long, but you are not allowed be. It's very hard. So with that, of course, there's going to be messy, but with that, of course, it's going to be emotional. When someone passes away, when you lose someone you love, that's emotional too. You know, grieving is never linear. It goes up and down. And it's like, it's the exact same. We are grieving someone that we thought we were going to be. We were grieving someone that we were so certain was going to keep us safe. So it's okay to have blips and bumps in the road. You can't ask the question of, how do I do recovery without any blips and bumps? They're going to happen. Growth is uncomfortable, but in discomfort comes expansion. And, you know, people don't always talk about, you know, becoming the best version of yourself after going through something scary is a lie. Like, it's really true. It really is true. So accepting that blips are going to be part of the journey is huge, but knowing that a blip only turns into a spiral if you react with punishment, if you react with restriction, if you react with self-hatred, that's when it turns into a spiral. And that's when things can go back to square one, because you're giving the voice fuel to take over again and say, see, you could never do this. But you can have a blip but still feel the emotions, recognize the emotions, but then choose yourself after. Choose what you need to do for yourself next. What do you need right now? Do you need a hot chocolate to make you feel better? You go have a hot chocolate to make yourself feel better. And you don't try and restrict just because you've had a hot chocolate to make yourself feel better. You have a hot chocolate. If the marshmallows feel right, you have the marshmallows. But always think to yourself, when you're making choices around food, what is the thought coming up that you wish you never had, that you wish wasn't coming up? Because for me, when I was eating food, I wished that the thought of, you can't have that, you're going to gain weight, all of those thoughts that were going against everything that I loved, I wish wouldn't come up. So they're the exact thoughts that I knew I needed to go against. And whether that be, you know, one thought at a time, whether it be 3 at a time, whether it be 4 at a time, you can choose, but you have to make sure that with every action you are taking, you are not beating yourself up after, you are not restricting, you are not punishing after, because that is the thing that adds fuel to the spiral. That's the thing that's going to spiral you back to want to go back to square one. It encourages and warms up the conditions for a blip to turn into a spiral. It literally lets the voice thrive in those conditions when you are restricting, when you are labelling yourself as a failure, all of that. One bad day, one little blip, one bump in the road is neutral. It happens. It happens with everything. It happens with not just healing relationship with food. It happens with everything. But what you do after the blip, after the little bump in the road, after the setback, determines where you go. The most powerful thing that you can do in response to a blip, in response to a bump in the road, is still continue to eat normally. Eat without restriction. Eat without punishment. And I know that's not what you want to hear. That's not me saying, just eat, it will be better, just eat. Because I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the best and most powerful thing you can do, which is the truth, is keep eating, keep choosing yourself, keep choosing kindness, keep choosing. Think how you're speaking to yourself. Think about the thought that you don't want to come up, and think about what you want. Our thoughts and what we actually want are not the same, because those thoughts are lying to you. What you actually want is the thing that you wish you could have. So always think about what you are wishing you could have, and why can't you have it? Well, because there's a lying voice telling me that I can't have it. Okay, so what do you have to do now? You have to think about how you can go against the lying voice, because that's the only way through it. Baby steps, big steps if you can, but baby steps also work. And small wins are not really small wins, they're huge. They're huge in healing relationship food. They're so huge. So you always need to congratulate yourself, no matter how big, no matter how small. Always be kind to yourself. A bump in the road is not the end of the journey. It's a chance for you to choose whether the old voice gets to take the steering wheel and drive you off into the abyss of depression and, you know, stuck and self-hatred, or you get to take the wheel and drive you to a life that's going to be free around food, that you're going to feel yourself, that you're going to find your new, strongest self, away from the lying voice. Somewhere far, far, far away, that acknowledges the voice but ignores it and knows how to deal with it. That path sounds so much better to me. No bump in the road means you are going backwards. No bump in the road is going backwards. If you're driving down the road and there's a pothole and you go over it, do you start flying backwards? No. Unless you've got a flat tyre, obviously you stop. But what happens when you stop? Someone comes out, they fix the tyre, and you're back on your way again. You're back towards the goal destination. Same thing. Bump in the road. Okay, we need to fix that little bump in the road. How can I talk to myself with kindness? How can I be nice to myself? Okay, got that. Let's go. Let's keep going towards the target. Honestly, my darling, it is all part of it. You just have to stay strong for yourself. Remind yourself who is the liar in your brain and who is the real you. What do they want? Listen to them for a minute. Healing your relationship with food isn't about never ever struggling again. It's about being able to struggle sometimes with life, everything. There will always be struggles in life, but choosing how to talk to yourself with kindness, choosing yourself over hating yourself when struggles come up. I really hope this has helped you with dealing with some bumps and, blips in the road of healing your relationship with food. And like always, I am so proud of you. There are more links below for you to find some resources that I've made for you. And keep going, keep choosing you, keep pushing through, keep being strong, and I will see you in the next episode.